This is wild. Okay, at the time that I record this episode, we were about 90 minutes from tip-off of the 202nd meeting in the regular season between your Dallas Mavericks and our I-45 rivalry, the Houston Rockets. Okay, and coming into this episode, which by the way is going to be much shorter than usual, I did a little bit of research on some highlights over the last 45 years of our rivalry here. So without further ado, I'm not going to do all the cute intro stuff. I am going to let you know who I am. I'm Ethan, the advisor Clayton. Welcome to Your Mavs, a Dallas Mavericks podcast where all are welcome, but y'all better behave. Now, as I said, I just want to kind of highlight a few things that I think are pretty noteworthy from our 45-year rivalry between the Mavericks and the Rockets. And probably the first thing that came to your mind whenever I said there have been 201 games, and tonight will be the 202nd matchup. That's regular season only, by the way. You're probably curious, like, who has the all-time record? Who has the leg up on the competition, if you will? And I'm here to deliver bad news here on the front end. We're going to start with the bad and then lead into the good. The bad news is that in that 201 games so far, the Rockets have won 105 of them, and the Mavericks have only won 96. Now, I think, after 202, it's probably going to be 106 to 96. That's just my opinion. The reason I say that, guys, is simply put, the Rockets have an amazing defense. Okay. I believe top 5 defense in the NBA. And we have one of the bottom 5 offenses in the NBA. When you put those 2 and 2 together, it's not a pretty picture. I don't have high expectations coming into tonight. Okay. Now, as a matter of fact, my best friend of all time texted me just a few minutes ago, and this just kind of gives an idea of like the reality of the matchup tonight. He said, "Yo, any predictions for tonight?" And I hadn't responded after 2-3 minutes, and then he double graded. Okay, he said, "Do the Mavs lose by 20 or 30 tonight?" I'm like, you know what? You can lose the attitude, pal, but also you're right. We're only going to lose by 20. Okay. I don't see us getting blown out. The Rockets have not had an awesome start offensively either. But what we knew about them to be true last season, and that they're a top 5 defense, still very much the case this season. And frankly, with Cooper Flagg playing the position that he's playing, which, everybody and their dog has already said that he's being played out of position at the 1. Part of what Jason Kidd has said about the reasoning behind that is we want Cooper to be able to handle all sorts of pressure when April rolls around. When we talk about April, that really means playoffs. Okay, so Kidd has a lot of confidence in this team, this roster still, even after 5 games, right? Maybe we take a page out of his book, and whether we're delusional or not, just have some sort of positive outlook for like what might come later. Okay. So ideally with Cooper playing the 1, the good news is that he is seeing a lot of the best defenders in the NBA, and tonight is going to be no different. So far this season in the opener with the Spurs, he was matched up 1-on-1 with Stephon Castle, lockdown defender. Second game was against the Washington Wizards. We're not calling any of those guys like absolute lockdown defenders. So we'll move on past that. Game 3, Indiana Pacers, the first one that we won. Okay. He was covered by Pascal Siakam, a great defender who is much bigger than him. Then we played the OKC Thunder, guarded by Lou Dort and Kason Wallace, 2 of the league's best defenders right there. Okay. Then against Detroit on Saturday night, he was covered by Asar Thompson. Tonight, it's going to be Amen Thompson. That is the big positive that I'm taking away from all of this, I guess, point coop experiment. Okay, is that if he can handle the pressure of being guarded by the best defenders in the NBA, having only turned the ball over 11 times in 5 games, I think that's huge, right? Call me biased, call me whatever the heck you want. I think the product is going to speak for itself. Okay. Now, going back again, I think the Rockets are going to win tonight. I'm just being honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a total blowout like we saw against the Spurs. But whenever you have a bad offense mixed with a good defense, on Houston's side, I think maybe we're looking closer to one of the lower scoring outputs in Mavs Rockets history. Okay, and this was part of my research. The lowest scoring game in that rivalry's history was a victory that the Mavericks had, 101-92. Okay, 101-92. I think we're looking at something very similar to that tonight. This time in favor of the Rockets. I'm just being honest again. I'm not going to sound the alarm. I think they are better than us, okay? They are pretty much better than anybody in the NBA except for OKC. And on opening night, with mostly healthy rosters, man, I'm getting tongue twisted. Mostly healthy rosters, the Rockets took OKC to double overtime. And I think one could argue that the Rockets would have won had Amin Thompson not sustained, I guess, a hamstring injury in the fourth quarter of that game. So I think we're looking at one of the top 3, if not top 5 best teams in the NBA tonight in the Rockets. They are better than they were last year when they finished in the number 2 in the West. And when I say better, I'm mainly talking about offense. The big thing for them last season was that they have guys that can score, but they don't have a number 1 option, right? Especially when games are on the line, clutch time in the fourth quarter. They hadn't really had that guy that they could rely on to take those big shots. They've got it now. Have you ever heard of a guy named Kevin Durant? Even at 37, he is still unbelievably efficient. Right now, he's averaging 27 a game on like 53% from the field. Whoa. Okay. We don't really have an answer for that. Nor does really anybody in the NBA. That's just kind of how it is. That's how it's been since Kevin Durant has joined the NBA. And somehow now, at 37 years old, he's every bit as, if not more efficient than he's ever been. So, again, for the Mavericks, our key is going to be, hey, please take care of the ball. Please do not start the game with like 5 or 6 turnovers in the first 5 or 6 minutes. Can we please just like nip that in the bud? Now, I'm going to speak this out loud, knowing that it's not a reality, knowing that we're not going to get what we want here. I think maybe if we started the game off with D'Angelo Russell, we wouldn't have quite the turnovers, right? But, Kid has basically said we're going to be running the point coop experiment until Kyrie returns. I have no idea what might be happening behind the scenes. That at least for the first week, D'Lo was on a rather short leash. He blew up on Saturday night against the Pistons, but it was just kind of a classic case of too little, too late. Hopefully, we can kind of turn the tide on that tonight and get a little bit hotter of a start. And what I'm going to tell you is, if in Mavs Rockets history, the highest single game point performance of any player was Dirk Nowitzki at 53 points, right? If that is the case, I am going to tell you we're not even going to see anywhere near that type of performance from either a Maverick or a Rocket tonight. But who's going to get closest to the 53-point record? Probably Kevin Durant. Okay. Who's going to get second closest to that? And here's where my bold take comes in. I think we're going to see Cooper Flagg's first 30-point outing tonight. Okay. I could be dead wrong. I'm feeling a little bit bold at 4:30 p.m. Denver time. I just think it's high time. There's been a lot of chit chat over the weekend about him being a bust as a rookie. Can we please chill out on that? Okay, it's an 18-year-old being played out of position. It is the first 2 weeks of the NBA season. He is 18 years old. He is 18. He is 18, and he's out of position. Am I starting to repeat myself a little bit? I'm just saying, can we please chill out with all the hate, all the mess? Twitter has just kind of become uninhabitable as a Mavs fan, because when we're not scrolling past Mavs fans themselves talking, kind of relitigating the Luka trade and how 80s injury just kind of brings up all of that mess again. I can't really blame Mavs fans for feeling that way. But what I am taking to task at this moment is anyone outside of the Mavs fan camp that have hateful things to say about Cooper Flagg as a rookie. Like, we ain't got time for all that. Like, we we didn't have Twitter when Kobe Bryant was a rookie, okay, or else he would be getting the same hate, okay. In fact, through 6 games, first 6 games in Kobe's career, he scored 33 points total. Okay, so what is that? What, like barely 5 points a game? He was shooting 25% from the field. Like, can we not just take a step back, look at the situation with a little bit of context? Can we look at it with a little bit of ball knowledge and know that, like, 5 games in is not the time to sound the alarm? Cooper Flagg will be just fine. And in fact, I think he's listened to all the chit chat and he's heard all of the hate. And I'm just going to say it. He's going to start off the game hot tonight. And he may or may not have his first 30-point performance. You know what? I'm not hedging anymore. He's doing it tonight, even with Amen Thompson guarding him. Now, that is not to say I think the Mavericks stand any sort of chance of winning the game. I think our record is going to be, 2-4 after tonight, 2-5. I'm so bad at math at the moment. Okay. I do not think the Mavericks are going to win, is the point that I'm trying to make. But I do think that we're going to start to see some positive things, at least offensively, from Cooper Flagg tonight. And all the haters, right? Just keep jabbering for now, and we'll talk in about, 90 minutes plus 2.5 hours, whatever that turns out to be, 3 hours from now. I've got my eye on you, fam. Okay. But yeah, that's really all I have for today. Coming back tomorrow, I want to get back into a regular rhythm of recording every day, same time, right? I am going to talk about the Ja Morant trade rumors that I've seen thrown around on Twitter. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some of the other, rumors of what's being said behind closed doors about the locker room, about the vibes, all of that jazz. Actually, just hit like, subscribe, and the bell on your screen, and you'll know exactly what we're diving into tomorrow, exactly when it happens. But for now, again, 202nd regular season matchup between the Mavericks and the Rockets tonight. Maybe the outlook isn't great, but I've got my eyes on a couple things. I want the Mavericks to take care of the ball in the first quarter. Okay. I want to see D'Angelo Russell minutes much sooner than we have been. And I don't want it to be an 8 or 10 point deficit to be what finally is the straw that broke the camel's back, where kids like, okay, now we'll put in D'Angelo Russell. Okay, so that's the first thing I have my eyes on. And the second is Cooper Flagg's offensive performance. He has been fabulous with taking care of the ball. Again, only 11 turnovers through 5 games. I think that's pretty freaking good, especially considering he's never played point guard in his life. So I think he's gonna shoot the ball well. I think he's gonna come out aggressive early in the game, and I think he's gonna have his first 30-point performance in his NBA career. That's all I got. Okay. Between now and the next time we see each other, y'all be good.